Hello, Dragons. My name is Peter Taylor, and I am a Viking. I first discovered mead when I got into Viking Age reenactment and discovered that real mead is a sweet and delicious alcoholic drink made from fermented honey. I started making it in my house as a hobby, and then 2 years ago, I turned my passion into a business. Now, we are a team of 7, with a meadery and warehouse in Pocklington near York, and stock many places around the UK. With the rise in love of all things Viking and fantasy in pop culture today, and with Fortune Business Insights valuing the mead market globally at 467 million currently, the time to get involved is now.
What's up, everyone? We are here at Nidhoggr Mead Co with Pete Nidhoggr.
Nidhoggr, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Tell us about this place. Tell us about what you're doing. Tell us about how it started. Give us everything.
Okay, so I started the company about 3¼ years ago now in my back bedroom as a hobby. So I am a Viking, a medieval reenactor, and was making it for myself, my friends, my family. Hence the shield, yeah, for us to basically have a good time with. Yeah. My mother-in-law actually showed me the process of how to make it. Okay. And I have ADHD, and I hyper-focused on it, and it became an obsession. Yeah. So I made loads of different versions of all of our flavours, using different amounts of honey, different waters, and so on and so forth. And I actually started because we did a little bit of a Viking show in between the 2 COVID lockdowns. And the Jorvik Centre came, and they tried our mead, or my mead as it was at the time, and said, "Oh, do you sell this?" And I said, "No." And they said, "Well, if you do, we'll buy it." And I went, okay, this could be able to get a new... I could get a new sword or maybe a new tent. Yeah. That's how I sold it to the wife anyway. Like, oh, you know, it'd be cool. And unbeknownst to her, she came home one day and I'd sold the dining table, sold the back bed, and turned her entire house into a working factory for 8 months. So yeah, I worked 3 jobs to get it off the ground. I used to sleep probably 2 hours a night and then get up and carry on working again. It was absolutely crackers. But yeah, fast forward to now, we've got the warehouse, we've got the meadery, we've got the office, we've got 12 staff, and we are now the highest rated, most followed meadery, 100% honey meadery in the UK. Tell
me about the time when you were like, okay, we need to move out of the house doing this then. Yeah. Like, what was that period? What was the indicator to move out, and why did you do it?
So what we started to do was events, and that's kind of how we built the business and the brand. So for us, going to events, selling at events, seeing lots of different people, and going to them all the time, every weekend, we started to get an awful lot of sales from that. You know, if anybody has seen us at an event, they know that we're fun, we have a laugh, we get everybody to try all the flavours, we go around with a cart in the evenings pretending we're ice cream men, but with, you know, mead. And that really ramped sales up. And when that started to happen, I don't have a big house. You know, it's kind of like, oh, we haven't really got any space for this anymore. Yeah. And I think, you know, the fact that my wife kept shouting at me because she had to take the honey out of the bath to have a shower, I think that was another indicator that really I needed to stop and to move it out.
So you came here.
Yes.
And then you've expanded from here now to another building. Yeah. And then it's...
And another building as well,
yeah. Building.
Yeah, so yeah, we've got 3 sites at the moment.
Okay.
So at the moment we've got this, which is the warehouse. This is about 1,000 square foot. Yep. We've got the office, which is about 200, 250 square foot. And we've got the meadery, which is 1,500 square foot.
Okay. Now, which we'll check out.
Which we'll check out in a minute. Yeah, we'll go check out in a minute. But what's actually happening is we're getting rid of the office and we're getting rid of this. Okay. And we're actually getting 2,500 square foot warehouse and office space. Yeah. So we're combining the 2 basically.
More room for swords.
Lot more, definitely more room for swords. Though if my wife's watching, no more swords, I promise. I get in trouble.
So when this video comes out,
yes,
you will have been on TV.
I will. I'll have been on Dragon's Den.
Tell me about that experience a little bit.
So it was a little bit mental, actually.
Yeah.
You know, we'd always sort of joked, because we're avid watchers of Dragon's Den. So every Thursday night when Dragon's Den and The Apprentice is on, we go round to my parents-in-law's house and we watch a double bill of Dragon's Den and The Apprentice. And we sit there as a family and take the mick, basically, and have a bit of a laugh and a bit of fun. On New Year's Eve, not last year, the year before, my wife jokingly went, well, let's enter Dragon's Den. Yeah. So she put in an application. And actually, it was about this time last year that we got a phone call And in fact, I was standing in here. One of my friends had come to see me because he was off work, and we were having a bit of a chat. And I saw this number that I didn't know sort of ring, and I was like, all right, answer the phone. And it was a very thick Irish accent down the phone. And I thought, oh, it's a sales call. I was like, sorry, why are you calling? He says, I'm calling from Dragon's Den. And at this point, I was like, what? So I had to do sort of an hour and a half, 2 hour phone call, pacing it. There's video evidence of this. My mate took it all. I'm walking up and down just on the phone. And they said, right, okay, so what we'd like you to do is a little pitch video for us. So we did a little pitch. We had a couple of the guys, you know, pretending to do a sword fight and stuff. And I'd step forward. And we did that. And then I go on holiday every year to the Isle of Lundy with my wife and her family. And now there's no signal on the Isle of Lundy, apart from in the pub. Kind of works.
So you got signal all the time then?
Every day for a week. Because just before we went, they said, right, we want you to come on.
Yeah.
And the documentation, they have everything. Because anything that you say in the den, you have to back up with evidence.
Okay.
They have to have physical proof that what you're saying is true.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think the folder was about that thick. With everything in there. So they wanted proof I was in the army, proof I have ADHD, proof of what the company numbers are, proof of the staff, proof of absolutely everything in minute detail. Yeah. So we sent all of that. We did that whilst we were on Lundy. And I was actually at the top of a lighthouse on Lundy in the middle of a storm. And I got up there and my phone started coming through with missed call notifications. And I was like, oh God. So I quickly borrowed my wife's phone and rang them, and they were like, yeah, you're on Dragon's Den. Where are you? It sounds noisy. I'm like, yeah, I'm at the top of a lighthouse. They're like, wow. I was like, yeah, there's a storm. They're like, what are you doing? So we did all of that, and then, yeah, it was about May when we went and filmed. Probably one of the scariest things that I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
You know, you go in there, we got there at like 11 o'clock and we didn't film until like 8 o'clock at night.
Wow.
Wow. So we've been there all day, and you've got to stay in one room because none of the dragons can see you before you go in. Okay. So, you know, Peter Jones had come out on the phone having a cigarette, and then the producer would be like, get down, get down! You know, as everybody's ducking behind windows and stuff so they can't see you. And then, yeah, I went in there, and I thought I'd been in there for 5 minutes. Yeah. I've been in there for 2 hours, and you just come out completely shell-shocked. You know, what you see on telly is 10, 15 minutes, but you are in there, standing there, talking about your business for 2 hours solid, and you're talking to some of the best business minds in the country, if not the world, you know. Probably
very intimidating.
So intimidating, you know, it's...
You're really just on show. You stood there and they're all sat in a line.
Yeah, and they're all looking, judging your business, judging something that, you know, I've worked 7 days a week since we started the company. So I've poured my heart, my soul into this, you know, my wife has, our family has, and, you know, we've got everything in this. And for them to pick it apart, it's like, but they gave some really good advice. You know, we didn't get investment. Right. But at the end of the day, we got really good advice, and it gave me that spur to sort of go, right, well, I'm going to prove you guys wrong. Of course. You know, which is what we've done. We're now in Morrison's, we're in a supermarket, we're about to start exporting to the US. You know, we've got more staff, we're just growing constantly. We're doing stuff that no other mead company's doing, and it gives you a sense of pride. Yeah. So it's keep an eye out, any of my American viewers, which I have quite a few. It's coming to the US. It is. In fact, it should be there. Should be on shore by the end of May. So that's quick. Yeah. That's quick. So you'll be able to get it through Vino Shipper. So it'll be on there, and then hopefully at Renaissance fairs and in some shops as well. So yeah, if you're in America, it's coming. So let's take a look around. Let's go have a walk around. Let's see what you get up to and go from there. We'll even get you guys having a go, eh? There we go. So as you can see, we've actually had a honey delivery today. So all of our honey comes from East Bridlington. It all comes from Yorkshire. Our apiarist has 3,500 beehives all over the North Yorkshire moors. He produces around 800 tonnes of honey a year. And at the moment, we're going through about 1 to 2 tonnes of that a month. So it gets bought on the back of an Arctic. Far cry from the 22 kilogram buckets that I used to warm in the bath. Comes in, it gets signed in. We have processes and everything for absolutely everything that we do. Everything gets signed in, and then it gets taken over here to the honey room. So over here is a fine bit of engineering. Come on over. So in here, is actually about 45 degrees. And that keeps the honey warm, melts it down because it comes like concrete, crystallized, warms it up, and then that's when it starts to become runny. From there, we then weigh it out into buckets. As you can see, you've come on the right day. This is making day. So all of our honey is at the moment getting weighed out into 23-litre buckets. So we use 12 kilograms of honey in every 23 litres that we make. And in here, we have space at the moment for 420 buckets, but soon we're going to be adding another couple of racks, and we're going to have space for 523-litre buckets in here.
Crazy.
So huge amounts of mead. As you can see, a lot of it's off the shelves at the moment. That's due to that television program that we were talking about. It's all in the warehouse, getting ready, hopefully, for getting shipped out tomorrow. So tune in next time to see how we did.
See how it goes.
So once that's happened and it's gone on the shelves, it'll sit there for about 4 to 6 weeks, depending on how well it behaves. We do a process called step nutrition, where we add nutrients to it at certain periods of time. We degas it, add nutrients, and that way we can keep the fermentation going, but without reducing loads and loads of sweetness. Once that's happened, we then rack it off, and then we filter it. So as you can see, there is also some filtering going on. Look at this, all of these things that were definitely not planned for you to see what was going on. So filtration's happening. These are 20 by 20 sheet filters. And what happens here is we go from 10 microns down to 2.5 microns, down to 0.8 microns. And what that means is we don't have to add any sulfites, because we strip out all the yeast particles, which means we end fermentation naturally without having to put any chemicals or nastiness in there at all. Once that's happened, it then gets put into these 60-litre buckets here, and we then bottle it, which is over there hidden behind the massive barrel of honey.
That right there.
That right there. So once that's done, comes along the line. These tables are actually normally there. They get corked, labelled, and then they get PVC'd, put in a box, and taken over to the warehouse. We used to have a different shape of bottle, which is why if you look at this bottler, there's this wonderful metal bar here. So this was custom made for us because the bottles that we use now have got a slight taper on them, like this. Originally, the bottles were, I say square, they weren't square, they were circular but had straight sides. The bottle supplier that we used to use couldn't supply us enough bottles. So we had to change bottle, which is why we changed to the one that we use currently. However, we then went through a period known as label gate, which is where these labels didn't fit the bottles, and we spent hours hand cutting labels to then fit them to these bottles, while we went through a period of about 4 or 5 weeks getting the labels redesigned and the machine made and everything else. It was hell on earth. Yeah, you know, 2 o'clock in the morning when your eyes are going and you've got a show at the weekend and you're there trying to cut these labels.
And line it up perfectly.
And line it up perfectly, yeah, it was not good. So yeah, that's pretty much our process, really. We only use Yorkshire honey, we only use Yorkshire water, Yorkshire ingredients where possible. Obviously, you know, lemon and lime, it's a little bit difficult to get lemons and limes in Yorkshire. In fact, everything that we use comes from Yorkshire. The bottles that we use come from Leeds and Sheffield. The only thing that really we don't use is the corks. And they come from Portugal because nobody in Yorkshire makes corks. We did look, but nobody does. But even the labels, they come from York as well. So everything that we possibly can use does come from Yorkshire.
One thing you mentioned before we started filming was the water here as
Yes,
well.
of course I did.
So
I forgot about that. So yeah, Yorkshire spring water from Swale Valley. This comes in, the tanker turns up, we pump it in, and then we use proper spring water and everything that we do. Because when we first started and we were home brewing and we were learning about different things, it was things like, when I first made my first batch, I used tap water. Oh, the pain. And then you start to think, well, I'll use bottled water, and then you start looking at different types of bottled water. Is it mineral water you want to use? Is it spring water you want to use? And all of these things. Then you start doing things like testing the pH, and you're testing the acidity levels to make sure that the yeast is going to be happy and everything else. And now we've got the recipes bang on because we use the same things every single time. We can teach members of staff when they start, this is the recipe to follow. You don't necessarily need to worry about how we got there, but this is what you do. They do, because we all test using a hydrometer, your starting gravity and everything else, and we have temperature probes to make sure that it's the same temperature that we're testing it at, because that will then give you a fluctuation on your hydrometer.
Right, okay.
And there's loads of things that I never realised when I first started that we've sort of learned and picked up along the way with.
I wonder like if that's where we're sort of messing up, because when we get bottled water, essentially, when we're putting it in the demijohns, it's not as warm as what it would probably be when we're leaving it to sit for 3 or 4 weeks.
I think there's a lot of stuff we're messing up.
Well, I mean, we're messing up. We're still learning.
Well, I mean, that's part of the fun. It is learning, and it's all about learning. I'm not going to say I'm an amazing mead maker. I'd like to think I make nice mead, and we've won awards. Our elderflower, for instance, is this, second best sweet herbal spice mead in the world, which is great. But in the same breath, I have so much to learn myself still all the time, every day. It's like, oh, maybe we should try that. Maybe we should try that. And then these guys hate me because I start doing R&D batches, and it's like, no, stop. I made a coffee mead once. I cold brewed coffee for 48 hours.
How did it work?
It was awful. To start with, it was absolutely dreadful. Tasted dire. So I was like, right. So I stuck it in the back of a cupboard, and I didn't think any more of it. And I was going to a party up in Scotland at Duncarron Medieval Village. And going up there, I was like, not got any booze to take. Oh, I know, well, I'll take this coffee mead. They're all going to be drunk, they're not going to care. So I took it up there and I just sort of put it out on the side. And people tried it. And people kept coming over to me like, what is that mead? It's amazing. And I was like, what? Tried some, I was like, oh, okay, so yeah, it's aged and it tastes really, really nice.
Right.
The problem was it was that caffeinated that everyone was just like, I'm really drunk, but I can't sleep. So it was great. But yeah, so, age it a bit, leave it for a bit. There's loads of different things that you can do to sort of try and change the flavour, for instance.
Nice. Probably the world's first energy mead.
Energy drink mead, yeah. Oh, don't start me on that. Oh, I've seen too many of the TikToks where they're making Mountain Dew mead and very weird and wonderful things that I'm a bit like, yeah, okay. No.
Speaking of mead, we should taste some.
I think you should. Should we go taste some?
Any excuse, but yeah, sure.
So we're here for the best part, which is tasting the mead. Do you want to talk over what you've got here and we'll try them all out?
Yeah, awesome. So
cheers.
At the moment we have a range of different flavours. We have, I think it's 8 or 9 in total now. We're going to go through our core range, and then potentially, if you guys are really good, we'll try and unrelease one back in the meadery.
I'm down to that.
See how well behaved you are. So this one here, this is our traditional. So as we mentioned, obviously up in the meadery, all of our meads are made from 100% Yorkshire honey. So all that goes into this is honey, water and yeast. It's 12 kilos of honey with water from Swale Valley.
Swale Valley.
Swale Valley, yeah. In fact, I'm going to try some with you. I was going to be good and not, and now you know what? I'm going to have a sit with you.
Time for a party.
That's a different video.
Oh my god, it's so good.
Yeah.
I love how smooth that is.
It's so smooth, isn't it?
And you just get this really nice, rich honey flavour. 15%.
15%.
Yeah.
You could get bladdered off
You
this.
you really can, quite easily. And that was kind of what we wanted to do. So when we were creating all of the different meads that we make, one of the things that we didn't like about other meads was it would say elderflower on the bottle, or it would say cherry on the bottle, or it would say whatever on the bottle, and it didn't taste like the thing that you were tasting.
Right.
And the really annoying one is when you buy a traditional mead and it tastes like wine, not like honey.
Yeah.
So we made them very honey rich, and we made them all very flavour forward.
Yeah.
So that's that one, the traditional. Next up, chuck your cups back here. We'll use a fresh cup every time, don't worry, they're all biodegradable. Pass it here, I'll chuck it. Yeah, watch the boar skin.
People in camera can't see that, so like, watch the boar skin.
Watch the boar skin. Watch the boar on the floor. His name's Boris. We've got Boris 1 and Boris 2. Very imaginative with the names. So next up, you have our elderflower. So this one we're very proud of. This one won gold at Europe's largest mead competition, and silver at the world's largest mead competition.
This is one of the ones. We've tried the traditional.
We tried the traditional, the elderflower, and I think it was the raspberry and lime, right?
Raspberry and lemon, yeah.
It was this one down here. This.
Yeah. Oh, you got that little pack.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Wow. There's going to be a couple in here then, obviously that you haven't tried yet. So
it tastes so good.
It really is.
You taste the elderflower.
Yeah, and that's what it's meant to be. You get the elderflower first, and then you get that really nice lasting lingering deep honey notes.
Yeah, what
That'd
I've
be my
noticed through
favourite.
like all these tastings that we've been doing is it's always better when you can taste mead. Mead is like number one, and then the
First
flavours
note.
just enhance the mead.
Yeah.
Because if you get things that are just like overpowering, which was the one that was crazy overpowering? Was it lime bays?
There was like, yeah, they had a cherry one and it was a bit like, woo!
Yeah, it was a
So,
bit like too much in a sense, wasn't it?
With some companies, because they use things like a lot of granulated sugar,
Yeah.
and not 100% honey, and they use flavour concentrates rather than real fruit juices and
Yeah.
things like that, you get these different flavours happening. Now, obviously, I'm not here to slate other companies,
Right.
but you know, we are very keen on mead is mead, which is 100% honey.
Yeah.
That is how you make mead.
Yeah.
You know,
And it's definitely, you can definitely tell that as well.
yeah, and
which is really important.
the thing is, with these other meads in inverted commas that make it with sugar and white wine base and everything else, A, they're not mead, and B, because of the way they make them, they become cloyingly claggy sweet.
Yeah.
You know, our stuff you can drink by the bottle,
Yeah.
and you know we did quite regularly.
It would be a great time.
It's a very good time. I think the most I did in one night was like 4 bottles, and that was
Holy.
yeah. Well, the great thing is no sulfite, so I wasn't feeling that bad in the morning. You know,
Right,
as long as
right.
you hydrate, you're pretty okay.
Yeah.
But you should just be able to drink mead quite happily.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, one of the things that we like to do as well is get people to make cocktails with it. So on the back of all of our bottles, we have a QR code, and that QR code will take you to a cocktail menu that we've had done by an award-winning cocktail bar.
Wow.
Or have it with your favourite mixer. So lemonades, tonics, ginger ale, artisan Coca-Colas for the ginger works
No way.
really, really well. Don't use actual Coca-Cola, please.
Yeah.
I will find you. It's like Liam Neeson, but with Coca-Cola and ginger mead.
So good.
Yeah, so, you know, we're really trying to, you know, make mead modern is one of our taglines.
Yeah.
And, you know, the other one is taste the past and live the moment. So, you know, we want to have that heritage, but we also want it to be a drink that you can enjoy today.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
yes, it's probably the oldest alcohol known to mankind, but there's no reason why everybody can't enjoy this, why you shouldn't be able to walk into your local pub and say, hey,
Yeah.
I'll take a glass of mead, please.
Yeah. Where was we recently? We went into a pub and I was like, I hope they have mead. Didn't we go somewhere?
I can't remember. Thank you, Bella.
No worries.
Oh, it was the pub near Mum and Dad's, wasn't it? And I was
No.
like, they have mead here.
Oh, yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah, they did that with me.
So this is
No,
one
they're not gonna have
this
mead,
is
yeah.
one that you haven't tried. So this is our sour cherry.
Okay.
So this one has become an even better seller than our elderflower.
Oh wow. Okay.
Oh yes. So we bought this one out just before Halloween.
Oh my God, the
Don't know
smell
why,
of it.
look at the colour. Last year, and it is. Well, I think it's everybody in the company's favourite flavour now. Pretty much, I think there or thereabouts.
Oh
I
my
mean,
god, yeah.
That's
it's
really,
like
really good.
liquid Haribo Tang Fast
Yeah.
Sticks. I have
can
gone
see why
through
that is the favourite.
a lot of that.
There's a fly haunting me.
Is there a
Yeah,
fly
yeah.
haunting you? Oh dear. There you go. Well,
That's
why,
incredible.
That's why we're in the office space, not in the meadery.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There you go.
That one.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And the
It
final
really
one that
is.
we're going to try.
For anyone wanting to try these at home, we will leave links in the description.
Yes,
for
please
all
do.
things. Please go and try them. It's 100%
Head over
worth
to
it.
nidhoggr or if you're in America, nidhoggrmead.com. There you go.
Do you have a
This is-
separate website then for the American stuff?
Yeah, well, so it links through. We will do once it's on Vino Shipper properly.
Right. Oh my God.
Which will just link them through to Vino Shipper or our page on Vino Shipper. So.
Wow.
Ginger root and capsicum.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said to Steve in a previous video
Oh, that's got some
a
flavor.
while ago when I was living in America, I worked at Trader Joe's, right?
Okay.
Which is like a supermarket over there.
Right.
And they have a lot of ginger flavoured sweets and like, you know, different types of food. But it was always like really potent ginger, like it was almost like too burning,
Yeah.
like, too much. So it put me off ginger for a long time. And then when I came over here and we was tasting it, and we tasted a few different ginger ones, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like ginger ones. And then I've been tasting them like, oh, there's a different way that you can
Yeah,
make good
there-
ginger
there
that
is.
doesn't destroy it. And
Yeah.
it actually tastes really good.
Yeah, so that one's actually ginger root and capsicum, so there's a little bit of mild pepper in there as well.
Ah,
So that's what
really
gives that
good.
really nice bit of burn on the back
Yeah.
end.
Yeah, that's
Um,
really good.
And if you mix that one with a bit of whiskey, it makes an amazing whiskey mac. You can sit there and drink that. Don't use the good
Try that
stuff,
one.
please. My Scottish grandfather-in-law will shoot me. But the cheap stuff, as he calls it, Irish whiskey.
Shots fired.
Yeah, sorry. I remember saying, oh yeah, I'll mix a bit of whiskey with the mead. No, not a good thing.
Amazing, absolutely. Thank you for letting us taste them.
That
No
ginger
worries at
one,
all.
It's like you biting on a piece of ginger root. Like
Yeah, it's really good, isn't it?
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, guys.
Yeah, let's leave links below. Please go and try it yourself. Don't just take our word from it. It is really, really good. There's a reason there is a plethora of awards back here. All right,
plethora.
Plethora. That's a good word. It's a good word.
Try it, guys. Try it.
Word of the day.
Cool.
Yeah.
Happy with that?
Yeah,
All
thank you very
right.
much.
Thanks so
Thank
much,
you.
guys.
Really
Cheers.
appreciate it.
All right. Hopefully see you again.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Awesome.
Definitely.